Walking down the avenue where we used to play. The house on the corner is still the same today as it was when we were children, innocent as innocent can be. I borrowed all your records, you borrowed mine from me. We sat and talked for hours in a box hung in a tree, and we stole your daddy's last bottle of gin. Those were the times, those were the ways. So take me back, so take me back to the good old days. Looking back from here, I can see that we were blind to the burdens we would shoulder and the struggles we would find. But growing made us strong as strong can be. Those were the times, those were the ways. So take me back, so take me back to the good old days. Ice cream until our heads hurt. We were trading candy bars and sticks of bubble gum, trying not to laugh in church. Do you remember? Like I remember. And oh, those were the times. Ooh, those were the ways. Oh, so take me back, take me back.
You are watching Escape Adulthood Live, your #1 source for long-lasting, fast-acting, physician-approved adultitis relief.
On this week's show, we're sharing something awesome you never thought to do with whipped cream, talking about snow cones, and giving advice about what to do when things aren't working out the way you hoped.
Greetings and salutations, or should I say aloha.
Aloha, and thank you for shenanigating with us tonight. We have an awesome show. I mean, following the anniversary show last week, which was pretty fun.
Yes, it was.
And eating that cake was even more fun.
Dress mishaps along the way.
We had a little dress situation. A lot of great advice came after about the duct tape.
Yeah, I thought about a staple gun.
It would have been, you know, but it all worked out. And we have a lot of awesome people here already. It looks like Kate and Steven and Christy and Kim and Scott.
Got someone from Superior, Wisconsin. That is way up north there.
Beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is almost, I didn't think about this, but it's almost like it's our honeymoon. after the wedding last week. Although
that was not planned.
We
but
didn't
yeah.
go to Hawaii for our honeymoon, but we did go to Hawaii last fall. I had a speaking engagement for nurses. And it was 2 days in Honolulu. They broke it up into 2 days because nurses can't all take off in one day or all hell breaks loose. And we were able to bring the whole family. It was rad. And probably, how do you pick one highlight? I don't know how you pick one highlight. Man. But one highlight was the home away that we stayed at. So the first week before the gig, we flew in early and we got a home away in Lanikai, right? Yeah.
Lanikai Beach.
By Lanikai Beach, yep.
Yeah.
And the guy who owned the thing has now become, he owned the home away, the house we rented. He's now become a dear friend. We call him Tutu Man. And he's actually a world famous ukulele player from Hawaii.
And singer.
And singer, musician. And so what we wanted to share is these shirts we bought while we were there, because this was before the gig. Yeah,
so we're sitting by the pool talking to Tutu Man, which, by the way, is Hawaiian for grandpa.
Yeah, that's what we call him now.
And he always had popsicles for the kids in the fridge out by the pool. And it was just one of those neat experiences where you get to know someone really cool. So he was like, okay, so tell me about this gig and tell me about what you're going to do in Waikiki Beach. And
pretty good.
I
know. It's one that she's got down.
And so as we told him more about this, he's a gig guy because he's a musician, right? And he's like, well, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go and do some shopping. You have to wear matching Hawaiian shirts or
Aloha shirts.
Yes. And he's like, do not go to those touristy shops. You have to go to Manuhe Ali'i. And so
it took me the entire trip to pronounce it.
Manuhe Ali'i. And so we're like, what is Manuhe Ali'i? It's designer shirts, and they come out with 5 new patterns every 2 months or whatever it is. And so we went and just had this amazing little shopping experience. Came back with these.
And he told us that the couples dress the same. Like they have the matching. And so we were like, really? Is that really a thing? He's like, no, when you walk in, they're going to think these guys know what they're doing. And I was worried that maybe it was like a prank he was playing on us, but no, we got a lot of good.
And they were like, no, that's what you need to do. And so when we got there, well, actually ahead of time, the client asked me, because I deal with all the client calls and everything. And she's like, would Jason be okay if we give him like a relay for the gig days? And I'm like, that would be amazing.
I'm anti-lay. That's not something I would.
And so this is one of the 2 lays. They had a new fresh lay
cool.
for him each day, which is amazing.
Yeah, this was kind of like really a manly version. And it was like, just dried flowers and
but it actually was real. Like
it's
dried.
It's not.
Gorgeous.
It's actually not that much smaller than it was though. Like it's just.
And the female speakers, theirs were like super ornate.
They had the big
it was really
thing,
cool.
So
that was just a big experience. So this is our show and tell today. Just a little flashback. We're kind of we're going to be talking about these hard times that we're all going through, and there's something about reminding yourself of paradise, kind of reliving paradise that helps a lot.
Yes. So, do you have something you would like to share this week?
If you don't mind, we would love it if you would just push that little share button down in the corner and just let people know about the show, or host a watch party. I've never personally done it, but I've heard, I don't know how it works, but good luck with that. Tinker, right? And last week, I think we had like 20 some shares. So I would like to get 30 shares tonight. That's my goal. If you don't mind, just push a little share, say, join in on the shenanigans.
Yeah. And tonight we're going to be talking about what happens when you go through hard times. We're going to be talking about, like Kim said, like something you never thought to do with whipped cream. Stay tuned for that.
Amazing.
But first.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Yes, I am so excited about this new thing that we have going on, okay? And it's a gift from Corona. I'm calling it our Corona blessing, honestly, because those of you who've been around for all the coffee chats 10 weeks ago, we were doing daily coffee chats.
10 weeks ago?
10 weeks ago. March 13th is when all this, for us, this is when we started being self-quarantined, March 13th. And so long story short, we have learned a thing or two about online offerings. And there is just something to be said about the fact that everyone is burnt to the crisp with Zoom. And everyone is burned out with just being virtual, like virtual fatigue for work, right?
Yeah.
Is that relatable?
Yeah, I think people have. It's good that we now know how to use the stuff, but I think people are burned out by the same old talking heads
Right.
and everyone like
Funny
the up
angles that
shots
people
of
are
everyone's
sitting.
face
I know.
backlit windows and terrible. And so
Yeah.
we have put together something kind of cool. Since we cannot be on stages doing normal keynote speeches or whatnot,
Right.
we have put together a virtual experience. Now, cool thing is, this is not that much different than what you're watching right now.
Right.
But it's super customized for the group or the organization. Instead of me coming on and being a talking head with the PowerPoint, it's the two of us. And it's kind of like the talk show style format, except we tailor it to the messages your organization needs to hear. We incorporate pictures and comments from your people, bring them on, we give away prizes, all that sort of thing. And it's a super good time. And so if this is something that you think the organization you are a part of, if you are getting burned out on the Zoom calls, you're getting burned out on the typical webinars, we invite you to find the decision maker, maybe the decision maker is you, and say, hey, we need to give our people something a little bit different.
Yeah, I actually heard someone say today that the best leaders are those, and the people that have the most retention, whether it's for membership or for employment and not as much turnover, are the ones that notice and appreciate their people, that the people feel seen, okay? And this happens in any group. I mean, if you're feeling unseen, you're out of there, right? So as the leadership looks to how do we support our people at this time, it's by appreciating them. And that's what this show, the virtual experience that we're putting on does. So the link is there, escapeadulthood.com/virtual. There's lots of video examples to be able to share with whatever leader you happen to be or know. But we're super excited. I think this is definitely something we're going to do well beyond quarantine because it's just a really relevant and fun offering.
Yeah, we did one for some folks in Minnesota just 2 weeks ago.
Statewide Association.
Super good feedback. It was a lot of fun. And
we're going to be doing a school district as that send off. These teachers have been working their butts off and they need to feel appreciated going into summer. So we're going to be doing that any day now.
Yeah, so if that's something that you think could work for you or your organization, please check it out.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
When Kim and I started this adventure, we were super optimistic. We planned to live on Kim's kindergarten teaching salary, which we knew would require sacrifice, but we were fairly certain that within a year, this Kim and Jason thing that we were pitching would take the world by storm and we'd be exchanging phone calls with Oprah and her people in no time. That was the goal. We, as we mentioned last week, we did gift shows where we sold prints and greeting cards. We approached newspapers about getting Kim and Jason into their comic sections. I remember having a discussion with Kim probably 3 or 4 months after we got married. I decided to forego my fledgling freelance illustration and design career to focus on this Kim and Jason thing full time. It's something that we were so passionate about. We really felt this idea that people need to be more childlike. We really felt strongly about that. And I remember thinking like, oh man, we could create prints and then we'll sell them at art fairs and we'll make millions of dollars in no time. Well, we made the prints and we tried to sell them and we sold a few, but it took us a long time. It tested our patience. We had no idea it would take us 5 years to earn a living. And when I say earn a living, I mean replacing Kim's $23,000 kindergarten teaching salary. This was before kids. Most of our meals were something to do with frozen chicken or ground beef. We had no air conditioning in our apartment. Well, we did, but we never ran it because we couldn't afford it. It was hard. But like I said, at the beginning, we were all fired up. We were all excited and enthusiastic and optimistic. But it didn't take long for it to feel like we were living in a desert. There were times where getting an email from something encouraging from a reader or an order from our store from someone we didn't know. I mean, that was a big deal. It was like drops of water on a parched tongue. Over time, the dream never died, but we couldn't help but wonder if we were chasing a mirage. We'd lie awake in bed at night wondering, are we crazy? Does everyone else think we're idiots for doing this? And the truth is, we had a lot of dreams that never did come true. We lived in an apartment for 8 years, which was 7 years longer than we planned. And at one point, there was a condo unit that was being developed a couple miles from our apartment, and we were super excited about it. And it was sort of like a dream to have our own place and to get out of this crappy apartment that we were living in. One of the things that we did is we actually went to an open house just so that we could get pictures of ourselves in the condo that we could then put up on our vision boards so that we would make this dream come more quickly. Well, the long story short, we never did get into that condo. Kim and Jason, the comic strip, never hit the big time, never even quite hit the medium time. But I'm here today to tell you that Elizabeth Barrett Browning was right. God's gifts do put man's best dreams to shame. When we first started this journey, speaking was not even on the radar. It was maybe 4 or 5 years into the journey where I even started doing talks at schools, talking about cartooning. Doing what I do now, giving keynotes and presentations and workshops at companies that bring me into Hawaii I couldn't even dream of that happen. Giving a TED Talk was not on my radar. It was not on the vision board, mostly because TED Talks hadn't been invented yet. But it was shortly after Kim retired. I don't know if we've ever shared this or not, but when Kim retired from teaching, our goal, like the thing we thought we were going to make it, we were going to sell books. I was going to come out with a book and we're going to sell enough to live on. And anyone who's an author is laughing right now at how ridiculous that was. But it was enough for us to take the jump, for her to quit teaching, and for us to go for it. And it was after that, when we started to get a little panicked, that speaking started to come into the picture. And it became a huge part of our business. And eventually, it led us to speaking at amazing places that I never could have imagined. I retired Kim and Jason in 2007, but I still make art. Looks a little bit like this. I think it's a little bit better. It's different. Maybe better is not the right word. It's definitely just as, if not more, fulfilling for me. And we never got the condo, but you know what? What happened is we ended up getting a house instead. And the condo that we pined after so much, they put a giant hotel right next door, and they paved over the park that was right nearby and is a parking lot. And basically the condo market completely cratered at about the time we bought this house because of oversupply. Bullet dodged. So what I want to give you today is hope, because you may be in that spot where maybe you're chasing a dream, or maybe you feel like you're in a nightmare right now with this coronavirus thing. Maybe you see signs of opening, but for you, it doesn't feel that much different. Maybe the end game is still a long way off. Maybe where you thought you'd be 5 years from now is not where you are. The prescription I have for you, keep going. Keep going. If it's worth it, you can do it. I had a friend early on. I was in a networking group, and there was a guy who told me that one of the things that he did, his name was Colin. Whenever his business was going terrible, or he was at his wit's end, at the end of his rope, and he didn't think he could do it anymore, he gave himself the promise. He said, I'm just going to do it one more day. I'm just going to give it one more day. And in his head, he was like, and if it sucks again tomorrow, I'm out of here. But the thing is that sometimes we get a new perspective after a good night's sleep. And that next day, maybe there's just another little thing. Maybe there's an encouraging email from a reader, or an order from a customer you don't know who they are. And that one little thing keeps you going for the next day. You can do it. You just need to stick to it. You just need to keep plugging along and keep doing your thing. Sometimes you're like an explorer marooned in a desert. Life can be a struggle. Things can seem bleak, desolate, hopeless. Maybe this feels a lot like you right now. Simple glass of water seems like a priceless treasure. But keep going. Have faith. Stay the course. What you ultimately encounter may end up putting your original dreams to shame. Remember those days, Kim?
Oh.
We talked a little bit about them last week, but
Every time you talk about our apartment, you say we lived there for 8 years, but we actually lived there for 9 years. And that last year was like worth 9 more years. I'm like, don't jump that last year. It was so long.
Yeah.
It was 9 years.
Yeah,
I know,
when you
it's
tell a
crazy.
story, aren't you supposed to embellish it?
I know.
I do it the wrong way.
I know. But no, I think that your message is right in line with what everybody's feeling right now. I think it's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
This is an exhausting journey for sure.
Yeah, but I remember. Do you remember that Colin? He was in my networking group, and I'll never forget that. He was like, just give it one more day.
We went to that advice.
Gave it one more day.
So many times.
Lot of days.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see. Lisa Marie says having a strong faith helps. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Leah, Kim Jason comic had its own vibe that was sweet and innocent. I like both the new and the old artwork.
Leah's been around for both, right?
She has been.
Yeah.
And actually, that's one of my goals is to put together a treasury of all of the Kim and Jason comics, the daily strips, the weekend strips, all the little sketches. That's something that I'm hoping to do in the next couple of years, and I'm looking forward to that for sure. Yes. So I wanted to share this with the snow cone art, right? So we wanted to give you guys a little bit of a bonus. Anyone who is a Escape Adulthood insider, I put together today. So last week we did a calendar for your desktop, for your computer, and we have another one here today. This one is with this artwork. Let me see. There it is.
It's so cute.
You can go to download that in our Adultitis Fighter arsenal. The other thing that we have that I'm maybe even more excited about is, so every once in a while we make little Facebook cover photos, the thing that you put as your banner. And we made some a while ago that was started when the Penguins Can't Fly book came out, and the whole mentality was like not a rule, like breaking rules that don't exist. So one of the things that we did is we created something like this, where it says, this one says snow cone enthusiast, and then it's got an arrow pointing to your picture, so when people go to that. So how do people get this, Kim?
Yes, so you sign up for the Insider if you're not already signed up, which if you don't know if you are or not, it just really depends on if you're getting a Sunday morning email from us, from Jason, every week. If you're not getting that Sunday morning email, then the URL is right there, escapeadulthood.com/insider. If you are getting it, then just check that email. At the very bottom, there is a password to get into the arsenal. And that's where you get all this cool free stuff that we talk about every week. So, we've been adding more and more, have you noticed? Because it's just fun to keep adding fun free prizes in there.
Yeah, so be sure to check that out. And speaking of snow cones, this is like the thing. We talk about snow cones and shave ice. Like, my brother and sister-in-law went to Hawaii before we did, and they came back raving about the shave ice.
Yes.
And they couldn't say enough about it, and we're like, what is this? It's like a snow cone. Like, no.
It's different. It's different.
It's different. Now, who here has had shave ice, like real Hawaiian shave ice? Let us know in the comments.
What was that stuff that we got in Hawaii that you put on top?
Yeah, so that was the thing. I don't remember the name. I don't know if they all do this. The snow cap, which is basically evaporated milk, or is it condensed milk?
Some sort of milky thing.
Did you like that?
I did. I didn't think I would, but it was very like dreamsicle-ish.
Yeah. It was really good.
So that they put on top, right? And then
and it kind of sinks in. It's almost like melted ice cream.
And the shave ice we got in Hawaii had you could get ice cream in the bottom of it.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was different too. And the kids, of course, and they mound it up, and you could pick all these flavors. It was so good. So we actually happen to know someone really well that is kind of an expert at snow cones. So we actually put him to work recently, and this is what happened. has become Grandpa's thing with the kids, and they, I don't know what's more priceless, their mustaches at the end or Grandpa's big smile. I mean, that has become really special time for them.
Yeah, they had a couple different flavors, cotton candy. One was unicorn something. I don't know if it was unicorn snot maybe, or
Gross.
I don't know what it was, but yeah. Let's see. Jim, refreshing, says refreshing. Yeah, it was good. And it wasn't like Dan says, I miss my Snoopy snow cone maker. We actually have one.
We
of
have
those.
one.
have to
I know,
pull
but
that
it
out.
takes forever to make a snow cone.
Yeah,
It's very
none of
tiny,
it is as
old
good as
school.
like the real Hawaiian shave ice, but it's still good.
The Snoopy one's classic.
Barb, I remember those days of being able to jump up on the counters, right? Yeah,
right? On your knees, no less, right?
Yeah, it was great.
So that was pretty fun. And of course, we've been getting a lot of cool feedback about the Let's Draw section. Have you guys been enjoying that?
I have to do that every week?
Yes, you have to do that every week. And today's art is so cute. Can you even imagine being able to draw this adorable? He needs a name, So I don't know if you guys have any name suggestions. Let us know for this cute little snow cone.
Okay, folks, we are going to draw, and we're going to draw a snow cone.
Woohoo!
So, how we're going to start here today is basically we're going to start with like a smile, but not a big smile. So here's what I mean. Sort of like a curved line. Oops. There we go. Okay, try this again. Curved line, a little bit like this. See why I call that a smile? It's like a Jason smile.
That is a Jason smile. Yeah.
Yeah, so going to do that. Now, so that's the start. Now we're going to do another one right under it, just like this. Like that. And then we're going to connect them.
It's like a little road.
Yeah. So this is your little lip, I guess you'd call it. Now we're just going to basically draw a little triangle down here. And there's our cone. The cone part of the snow cone.
Barb said the name should be Conan.
Conan.
Conan or Sammy, which I like both of them.
I like to make little stripes here. Yeah, I did it on there.
Did you?
So the trick with this is give them a little bit of a curve. So instead of just doing a straight line, give them a little slight curve, just like that smile that we just did. And that gives it the illusion, Michael, who gets that reference, of depth and volume. Now on the top, we're going to do the little pile of snow, which is kind of like just a circle. It's like a top circle, but it's okay if you draw a little wiggly. This is sort of like the Charlie Brown. You know how Charlie Brown kind of had like wiggly lines, especially as Charles Schulz got older, got even more wiggly. But even in his early days, there was just like a really unique style. But that makes it look like crunchy shaved ice, right? Yeah. Now, of course, we got to put the little face in here. 2 eyes and a little smile. All right. Now we're gonna color it, and gonna get some red here.
Rachel said, "Joe, Rachel knows her Arrested Development."
That's good. Yeah. That's good. All right. So I'm gonna color in my little red stripes here. I don't know why I make them red. It just feels like that's how it should be, but I'm not actually sure if that's true or some sort of false memory of mine. So every other one, of course, this is your snow cone, so you can make it whatever color you want. Okay, so here's another trick. We talked about volume and depth. What I'm going to do here is get a little bit darker red, like a maroon, and I'm going to color just these little edges on the side, just to give it a little shadow. Make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. Now we're going to do should we do the rainbow like that?
Yes.
I think we need to do the rainbow like that, right?
Rainbow.
So I'm going to get a little blue, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger.
Oh, that's such a classic blue.
It's a good blue raspberry, right?
I love blue raspberry.
Oh, here's the thing I forgot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just leave a little edge around the top edge, just like that. And what that is going to do is make it look like it's shiny, like wet, the ice.
Interesting.
All right, now I gotta get some good yellow. Now this may look different based on what kind of materials you're using. Again, I'm not going to go all the way up to that edge. I'm going to give it a little bit of a lip at the very top, and then we're going to go to our pinkish red, and same thing, kind of give it like a little backlighting there, just to give it a little bit of highlight.
So cute.
Now, based on what kind of media you have, you may or may not be able to do this, but I can do this here. I'm going to do a little green in between, just to give it a look like it's blending together.
Can you remind everybody of this program in case they want to check it out?
Yeah, so this is in the this is called Procreate, and it's on the iPad. It's iPad only. It might be like Androids, but it's not on desktops.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna do a little orange on this side, because what happens when you mix? That's wimpy orange. What happens when you mix red and yellow, Kim?
Orange.
That's right. And what happens when you mix yellow and blue?
Yellow, blue, green.
Very good.
I didn't know it was going to be a color quiz.
All right, so we got a little rainbow going on there.
Looks good.
And yeah, I think that's pretty good. And then,
looks cute.
you know, you can, if you want to get a little fancy here and do like the little cheeks. Sometimes I like to do little cheeks.
Aww. Oh,
right
that's
there.
cute.
And of course, we're different colors. Come on.
A little red.
A little red right there.
Aww.
All right. So
That
there is
adorable.
your little adorable. Oh, you know what else you could do?
And we got some good names here too.
Oh, we got some names? What do you got?
Steven, I think that might be a VeggieTale reference. Usta? Do you remember that?
Oofta.
Well,
Oofta.
that's a Norwegian.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But yeah, and then some of them went up, so I can't see them. Oh, Barb, no, that one's gone. But anyway, there were some good names coming through, and I see a lot of cool people jumping on here midway through.
Yeah,
Your cousin Jennifer, Gina Goodbread.
Michelle says, I think Jason is the Maverick. The sweet little snow cone should be a sidekick Iceman.
Iceman.
Like anytime you get a Top Gun reference, right?
Right.
It's classic. Anybody else I can pull up here? Thank you to everyone who's saying hi. Oh, Kara says Frosty. That's a good one.
Oh, yes. What was Steve Arnold's, hi Steve, saying about the chunkier? Yeah.
Okay, I found the ice in snow cones was chunkier and the shaved ice was finer, more like snow, ironically. And that seems to expand the flavor options, including ice cream and sweet beans. True. That is true. That is the difference between the shave ice. It is much
it's a different
finer
consistency
and not as hard. It just it just melts right in your mouth.
And Lori Guest. Hi, Lori. Good to see you.
Hey, Lori, how's it going?
Aww. She says, today, remember when I graduate from
Let me
high
pull it
school?
up.
Okay.
Lori, today, go ahead, Kim.
Today, Ellie said, remember when I graduate from art school, I get them same art system that Kotecki has. So thanks for that. I'm saving my pennies now. Well, you know.
Yeah.
20 years in, right?
I think she just graduated or is very close, but like
Ellie?
Yeah, she's like
I don't know. Tell us where she's at.
I forget if she got like
she graduated
or she graduated or something, but she's in art school and is killing it. I've seen some of her work and was able to help a long time ago giving some recommendations on some stuff, but that kid has a bright future, so I'm excited. And you know, that's the thing, like just as a little aside here, when I was in high school, I loved art. I wanted to be an artist, and my parents were super supportive, and they were terrified. They didn't know, like, is this a thing? Can he do this? Like, and they actually invited my high school art teacher over for dinner, basically to say, A, is he any good? And B, can he make money at it? And she was very complimentary, thankfully, Mrs. Garrett. And she listed out a whole lot of things that artists can do, most of which people don't think of. So I have to give Lori, we were just talking about, credit, because it takes a special parent and parents to
be okay with
have that deep breath and say, okay, I really would rather you were a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. But to be able to be an encourager like that, I talk to a lot of artists who don't have that from their parents. So to be able to have that is quite a blessing. And
these days, you watch the credits of any movie, like a Star Wars movie, how many pages of credits are artists, right? So there's just so many options. Lori confirmed that she finished her first year of art school.
Okay,
Yes.
that's right.
Graduated from high school. That's probably what you're
Yeah,
so.
I know she was excited to get into it.
That's awesome. I like Mike's name, Herbie. Herbie for this guy.
Oh, that's good.
Cute.
That's a good one. Yeah.
All right, I love
Very
it.
good.
All right, speaking of arts, we're back in the studio again. All right, we're back in the studio, and Jason's drafting table is filled with wood panels. What is going on today?
Yes, I've got some wood panels here. I'm starting on a new series for the pop culture people, and I need to do some pre-work before I can actually start the actual fun things. Now, what you may not know is with canvas is what a lot of artists paint on, and this is what it looks like. It's like this raw canvas. It's a little bit of a creamy color, but you have to put some sort of primer on it in order for the paint to adhere to it properly. And so it is what we call gesso, which is basically a primer. Now, back in college, I had to learn how to build my own stretchers and stretch the canvas and gesso the canvas. Now I am much too lazy for that, so I buy them pre-stretched and pre-gessoed. However, for these wood panels, they need to also have some sort of a primer on them. And so I paint off the edges because I like to leave the edges with the wood, but I need some sort of
tape?
Yeah, it's just painter's tape.
Okay.
And I need some sort of primer on here. And normally what people will use is a white acrylic gesso, which is what would have been used on this. But I like to turn to my good friend Bob Ross, who has this cool gray gesso. It's sort of an in-between thing. And the reason I like using this, if you have seen some of my other paintings when I am working, I hate working just on plain white. I like to have some sort of a mid-tone to start from so I can go lighter and darker. And so gray is a good way, is a good ground for me. So I'll sprinkle a little bit on.
It seems like something I could do.
Yeah, it doesn't take that much skill at all. And I just get it in there, soak it in. One of the things that's kind of interesting about it, I don't know the science behind it, but as it dries, some of the wood grains kind of come forward, so it makes the surface kind of rough. And so after this dries, which won't take very long because it's acrylic, I'll take a really light tooth sandpaper and I will sand it down and make it super smooth, but it'll keep most of this gray on there. And then right from there is when I start the drawing and can do the fun part, which is the painting.
Nice. Well, get to it.
Like
You've been busy.
Get to it.
Get to it. Come on. Is that how it comes on?
Are you guys having a killer time?
All right. Well, this is now quickly becoming my favorite part of the show. Is what we're gonna do now. All right, folks. First of all, a quick look at some of the drawings from last week. We had the grilled cheese.
Oh my gosh.
Grilled
These are
cheese
so
in love.
cute.
Because, again, everyone needs to know how to draw grilled cheese in love. This is Amy Payne. We have Christy Ward's contribution here.
So cute. Those little smiles.
What else we got? Helen Deal. She's got a good one. I like that with the little cross hatches.
Yes.
And then we got Rachel Ringley. Put hers in. I think all greats.
Post-it.
We got, we get a bunch every week and we pick some of our favorite ones. But thank you guys for sharing them.
Yes.
If you drew the snow cone with us today, feel free to send that to kj@escapeadulthood.com. Maybe we'll share your creation on next week's show. But little levity here. It's getting close. I know in Wisconsin, it's different everywhere, but in Wisconsin, we're slowly opening up, which the main thing that means is that hairdressers are opening, which is good.
This is what every hairdresser is seeing walking through their doors this week, right?
Yeah, it's like, where do I even begin, right? But I wanted to share, we got a video a couple weeks ago from an Adultitis fighter who I was just so blown away by her initiative to bring joy and ice cream to her fellow neighbors. So Stacey Harris sent in a video, and I just want to show you guys because what she did was awesome.
Okay, so I've been listening to Brene Brown's book, The Power of Vulnerability, and she's talking about play and the importance of play. So this is my version of play. I'm turning my car into an ice cream truck, and if somebody smiles at us or waves, they get free ice cream. And so we got it all decked out. We've got social distancing equipment. Give it to them on a platter. I can hardly wait. It's gonna be so much fun. Masks, we got gloves. So we're just spreading the love, helping others have fun during this pandemic.
Oh,
This is why I love you people.
Her
Like, the
enthusiasm.
enthusiasm, that
right?
devilish smile, that devilish
The
laugh.
rainbow
the
sweatshirt.
giddiness,
right?
like that is what we're all about here. Is just
Mhm.
bringing light to people, doing those little things, right? So
We should have given her our address.
yeah, I don't even know where she lives. But
I have no idea.
She should come to our house and give her smiles for
For ice cream.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're very excited because for the last 3 or 4 years, every month we award an Adultitis Fighter of the Month.
Mhm.
And we thought we need to be talking about this on our show because
Yes.
these are like some of the cream of the crop people. So this month's Adultitis Fighter for May is Dan
We
Fitzpatrick.
need the kids cheering for this,
Yes.
for sure. And Dan's in the chat tonight, so thanks for being with us, Dan.
This guy is
Congratulations.
awesome. He is, well, a couple things. That's him on the right. I don't know if that's your right or my, I don't know. The one that looks like Gru in the Minions.
Awesome.
That's him. And he is a science teacher, and he's really into nature. And I think they might be tapping trees here. I'm not exactly sure, but he's always doing something in nature. And in his profile that we have on our website, there are a couple things from Dan I wanted to share. He said, every day I try to see the world from a 2-year-old's eyes. I pride myself on being a rule breaker. I'm always asking, what are the actual consequences if I try this? And I think that's what a lot of people do is they don't do stuff and they don't actually ask like what would happen if I actually did it. And the weird thing is that most of the time something good would come of it, but we don't even bother to do that. This was also awesome. We always ask Adultitis Fighters of the Month what their strategy for dealing with people who are obviously infected with adultitis. And Dan said, everyone has a hobby or something they're excited about. It always helps to find out about it and share some enjoyment, which is a good point because anytime you can get someone to talk about themselves, we love to talk about ourselves. So that's a really great way to break the ice, get rid of some of the grumpiness and get them talking about something they're excited about. But my favorite part is he shared these ideas. And if you don't take advantage of one of these, you're doing it wrong. He says, at a boring meeting, it's fun to make things a game. See how close you can move a paperclip to someone. Pretend you're a secret agent, and this will download all of the info from their phone. And I just envision it like you don't do it all at once, right? That's obvious. You just do like little nudge.
This is like a Jim-ism from The Office,
right? I think that's what I love about it, right?
Right.
He says if you have a conspiring friend, make it so you have to do something every time the presenter says this. So maybe wink or move the paperclip. I don't know. And then if you are in charge of presenting something, I might have to take him up on this. See how many times you can add something like a Sasquatch to the group document and see if people can find it during your presentation. Kind of like your own Where's Waldo, right? Like,
right, Marty, right. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. And that's
Dan.
why he is an Adultitis Fighter of the Month. So thank you, Dan, for being awesome. We appreciate that.
I have to say, Dan was in our Wonder Hunt course in the fall, and every time I would see his posts, it just filled me with joy. Your perspective on life, Dan, is so unique. So thank you for sharing it all with us and being an example for everybody.
Sarah says, love it. What are the actual consequences, right?
What a good question.
We just stop with, I'm not
Right.
supposed to do that, but we
Right.
don't think about what are the actual consequences,
Right.
Okay, so a couple more really good ones. Jen Jones sent this to me. She said one of the things that she's done during this pandemic is she does little daily art prompts, these little notebook. And I thought this was pretty rad. This is the moon. And I told her, I said, I can't not see. Can you see E.T. flying over across the moon? Like I want to draw a little E.T. on a bike there or something like that. So that was pretty cool.
It's beautiful.
And Paul Tracy here looks like he has our 2020 Celebrate Everything calendar. And the other day
Yeah,
was
it
Paper
was
Airplane
Paper
Day.
Airplane Day, and he has been doing different things during his lunch hour to fight adultitis, and I believe he was having some fun with some paper airplanes. Look at the colored paper, no less.
I know. He doesn't just do it halfway. He's got the colored paper. Love it.
So, rock on, Paul.
Now, we hyped at the beginning of the show this thing about whipped cream.
Oh my gosh.
This
is something else, you guys.
Ironically,
buckle in.
This comes from Scott Ginsburg, who was, I don't know if he was last month or the month before's Adultitis Fighter of the Month.
Right.
And this just proves why he was selected. So he, just in passing, I was talking to him the other day, and in passing he talks about it was Brittany, his wife's birthday, and they were going to do their annual like whipped cream fight or whipped cream war.
Just
annual, it's like that's what people do.
Right.
And I'm like, what is this now?
How did I miss this?
And he like just kind of explained it, and like it didn't really sink in all the way until after I thought about it. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, you need to tell me more things about this. You need to give me pictures. You need to tell me stuff.
Oh, he did.
And so he did,
Yeah.
and he sent along some things. So here he is. This is basically how it started. We had the idea to do it a few years ago, and honestly couldn't find a single reason not to do it. Kind of goes back to
what are
dancing.
the consequences?
What are the consequences?
Yeah.
There are none.
Right.
Always wanted to. We bought lots of cans and tubs, packed a cooler, went to the park in our swimming suits, and just went at each other. Cost like $18 for unlimited joy. What were the results? Version 1, we made a mistake of using cans. He was clear on this.
Is really good.
They have
tip.
sharp tips, and it caused him to accidentally draw blood from my wife's leg.
Pro tip: use the tubs.
Use the tubs.
Right.
Tubs only. Use your hands. No metal, and you don't have to deal with chemicals and gravity, which is good. His tip: freeze the whipped cream tubs overnight so it's easier to pack in ball form. Think snowballs versus packed powder.
Okay.
Tightly packed versus like powder. It's better for throwing. Also, he says the coldness of whipped cream feels nice on a hot day, unless it goes down your pants. Duly noted. Interesting. Another tip. This is part of the reason why I needed to feature this, is because he gave such good tips. Whipped cream fights are best when structured, since it's easy to get carried away and ingredients have limited supply. Who would know this unless you've done it several times, right? So they have like a decathlon with themed events. Okay, so some of their favorite events: sky high pie face. Basically, you scoop it in your hand, throw it straight up, and catch it in your face or your mouth. Okay?
I like this.
Point blank. Whip a hunk of cream at someone within 6 feet of each other. So you just whip it. Okay? High fives. This is a good one. Fill both hands with cream and give someone a double high five.
Nice.
Double high five. Smearing. Exactly what you think. Hair salon. Pretend like it's hair product and style someone's hair with whipped cream. Smashing. Cover your body, then chest bump or run into each other. And he also included birds and bees, which he notes is for adults only. You can imagine what that would involve.
Gross.
The question is,
yeah, baby, yeah!
The question is, how do you clean it? So it's very simple. It reminds me of barbarian spaghetti. People get all worried and worked up about
What
it.
are the
It's really
consequences?
not that hard.
What are the consequences?
If you're in your backyard, simply hosing down after a fight works fine. If you have a dog, they can lick it up. If you're in a public park, bring towels and water and clean off. He says it's more fun in a public park because people look at you like you're nuts and get mad because their family is boring. And then finally he says, why did you do it and continue to do it? If you need a reason to have a whipped cream fight with your family, perhaps there are larger problems you have to deal with first. I cannot argue with that at all. I love this. Okay, where is it? Back here. You can see, if you can see real little, there's a person back there laying behind them that I can only imagine. They're like, what is going on? So this is what they did. They live in New York City. Now they have a little cover because there's weird people walking around New York all the time.
Yeah,
but
why not be one of the weird people? This is 93%.
This is
optimal amount.
this is right to the limit, but
Right.
not going over.
Right.
All right.
You have not crossed into the 94, so good for you guys. This is beautiful.
Yeah, Mike says that you need chocolate syrup.
Ooh,
You know,
take
if
it
you're
up
gonna
a
get,
notch.
if you're gonna get sticky.
I mean,
you know.
Scott, if you're here still, I'd love to hear your perspective on that. Because is it better to keep it simple, or do you add a couple things?
You know, I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, here. Well, Scott says this. We regret nothing. I love that. Nicole, spray with a garden hose. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
I think this should be the secondary prescription for the week. If anyone wants to take a shot at this and share pictures,
Yeah, you know, that's
it's
a good.
getting hot.
The prescription was keep going, right? When you're in a rough spot, keep going. Give it one more day. So if today's not going good, maybe you just need to put whatever it is you were working on off to the side, bring out the Cool Whip, and go crazy with it.
Yeah.
And then
And just tell us how it goes.
The next day is automatically going to be
Right.
better. There's no doubt about that, right? All right. So we want to ask you, we had another great time. We've got a giveaway again today, and you only get a giveaway if you're here live. What I'd love to know is what has been your biggest takeaway from the show so far? What was the one thing that made you laugh, made you think, that you want to take with you after this? Because putting it down, it reminds me of a Kindle. Like on the Kindle, when you get a book, you can see what other people highlight. There's like an underline in it, and it's like all the time. Like when I see an underlined thing, I'm like, oh, that is good, right? And so when someone leaves a comment of like something they took away, it helps everyone else be like, yeah, that was good, and it sticks in your noggin, right?
By the way, Scott says they're open to toppings, so he did respond to that.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
You know,
that's
good to know. So winner from last week, we had a huge giveaway last week.
Did.
The original Best Friends Forever series, green eggs and ham, the orange and green. It turned out so cute. That winner goes to, you ready?
Yep.
Stacy Sherman. Yay! Stacy, she's been around for a long time. Stacy, this is so exciting. So we'll be reaching out to you to get your address to get those out to you right away. This is awesome. You are now a owner of original artwork of Jason's.
You are an art collector.
You're an art
officially.
collector.
You weren't already.
And this week, for our winner, we are going to have Hope in the Darkness. Or Hope in the Darkness.
No, that was the other one. Hope in the
it's
Desert.
not
This
Hope in the
one.
Dark-
I'm
Hope in the
Desert.
Desert.
Hope in the Darkness. Hope in the Cool Whip. Whatever.
Hope. We all need it.
All right.
Right?
So we're going to give away this 11 by 14 art print as a reminder of tonight's show. And to be eligible to win, you of course have to be live, but you have to answer a question.
Yes.
Right now in the chat.
Here's the question to be eligible to win. What is your grossest snow cone flavor?
Like that you could imagine.
Yes.
Not like, I hate strawberry.
Not grape.
Like if you could imagine the world's worst snow cone flavor that you're pretty sure they don't actually have.
Right.
What would it be? What would be the world's worst snow cone flavor? I think
Bring
of the Birdie Bots, the Harry Potter beans.
Right.
Those are some interesting flavors, right?
I also think back to some old Truth or Dare games we used to play as kids when we'd open the fridge and dare each other to eat things, combinations. I was just talking about this with your parents. Combinations of nasty things.
Olive. Yeah. Just drizzle some olive oil in your shave ice. That would be
good,
great.
Brenda.
Copper oxide. There's my science guy
There
at
you
the
go.
end, right? Oh, here you go. How about tuna?
Oh,
Good old tuna,
Michael.
shave ice,
Ah.
prune juice with Cynthia, garlic. That is
Gross.
That is gross. Barf.
Oh.
Yeah, Lynn, that would be bad. That would be bad.
That's we said grossest.
Sardine.
Ooh.
Sardine.
Salty.
And here's the writer, Hitchhiker Toe Jam. Not just regular toe jam, the hitchhiker version, right?
Oh.
Skunk spray.
Ooh, good one, Rachel.
Cool Ranch. I thought of that. I was
Oh.
thinking was it the
Chip
last
flavor?
Escape
like
Adulthood Summit? We had different sodas that people got to try, and like
And we had a
ranch
little
dressing
soda
was
bar.
one of them, and
Mustard.
there were some
and
pretty gross ones. Pickle juice.
Yeah.
sauerkraut.
I think this is going to be a hard one to pick.
relish.
Egg. Oh no, Stephanie.
That is gross. Broccoli. Listen, we got some good ones.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to keep these comments open for the next few minutes after we close down, let you get some more in there and read everyone's. But that just about wraps it up for us. I didn't quite finish this, but I
definitely want to
will.
look at, plane tickets to Hawaii again after all this.
All that talk of aloha.
Hey, while we're mentioning this, if you ever want to go to Oahu, we have the most amazing home away to recommend. Seriously.
Tutu Man.
And it is literally a block and a half from Lanikai Beach, the most beautiful beach in Oahu. So let us know. We will definitely give you a link and you will enjoy it.
Yes. So that's it for us tonight. That's it for this show. Until next time, Adultitis Fighters.
Shine on, spread whimsy, and be awesome.